r/off my chest. Monkey in the middle 006 says, my terminally ill 13-year-old son tried to kill himself. My son was diagnosed 2 years ago, and for all that time, he seemed to take it in stride. But last month, I caught him trying to take a week's worth of pills at once. I wrestled them out of his hands, and my wife and I now keep them locked up in our room, where he can't get them, until we give him his dose each morning. My wife and I got in touch with several potential therapists for him. When we told him last week, he said we should have let him go through with it, that he was going to die anyway, and he hates chemotherapy, he feels sick all the time, and he's a burden. We told him he wasn't a burden, and begged him not to give up, and he nodded reluctantly, and locked himself in his room to cry. My wife started making his favorite foods almost every day. We made plans every weekend to take him to the places he loves, and we spend as much time with him as we can. It seems to have lifted his spirits, but I worry that he's just putting on a brave face again. We are not going to let him kill himself no matter what. I know it's the right thing to do, but no matter how much we dote on him, my poor baby will never get better, and I can't help but feel like we are prolonging his suffering. Edit, reading the comments on my lunch break. I sent this post to my wife, and we've discussed what to do. When I get home, we'll talk to our son about stopping chemotherapy, and ask if he wants to create a bucket list. We'll schedule a meeting with the therapists we are talking to find the best one for him. My wife has put his pill tray back in his. Nemivan Fritzenberg says, you need to start considering his end-of-life care. Maybe a dedicated children's hospice. Parmesan says, a children's hospice would be a wonderful source of support for both the child and parents. Nemivan Fritzenberg says, they do amazing work. The staff see so much pain and suffering, but provide such a loving and caring environment for families, providing a sense of peace. It's more point of a vocation than a job for lots of people in this medical field. Historical Rise 1156 says, I have nothing but sympathy for your plight. I cannot begin to imagine the pain and grief that you are facing. As for your son, talk to his medical team with him. He is old enough to make decisions about treatment, especially if he is terminally ill. This might mean no more aggressive treatment, but instead creating a bucket list, etc. I hope you can make memories over the next few months/year. Kid Cat says, I think you should talk to him about stopping chemo. It's not a battle he's going to win, and he's tired. Let him go out on his own terms. I'm sorry you're going through this. r/off my chest. British Inesta says, home alone on my 40th birthday. Today is my 40th birthday, and I'm home alone. I know it's ridiculous for me to sit here crying like a child, but I am. The last time I celebrated my birthday I was 13. Since then every single year something happens to prevent me from celebrating. Maybe I'm not worth celebrating. Edit, I just want to say thank you beautiful strangers for helping me have a better day. I did finally speak with my mom. She didn't realize it was my birthday. My husband and kids arrived home earlier than expected, so I did get to see them. I don't even know how to feel. So many complete strangers acknowledged my existence when the majority of my family didn't. I do feel a little silly for having a pity party about it though. One canned Nomo says, I think you're worth celebrating. Singing for you right now. Here's to another 40. Keelabud57 says, happy birthday. I was also alone on my 40th, several years ago. I was also sick. I remember thinking, so this is what it is like to grow old. All alone. I'm no longer alone. Life can change, even after 40. No South 280 says, make you an awesome day. Happy birthday. 90s Run Makesma Happy says, you have Starbucks rewards? You can get a free drink. Or just lie and say the app is giving you issues and show your driver's license and get that free drink. Zesticlose Classic 76 says, happy birthday, treat yourself to something you enjoy. I've been alone on many birthdays and that's what I'll learn to do. Make it a self-care day doing, eating, or watching something that makes you feel good. Off my chest. Beautiful GRL1111 says, Reddit is so misogynistic. Anytime I search something I relate to, there are always some insecure toxic assholes or pretentious person who thinks they're different who always has something to say about a woman who went through trauma and being in a vulnerable place on this platform to vent in frustration, which is always going to not be this romanticized picture in our minds of how they react and deal with their trauma because what they were put through isn't pretty. Whether that be mothers who had a rough childhood, women who were put through a forced birth, child-free women establishing valid boundaries, wives of unfaithful husbands, women dealing with insecurities and wanting something for themselves too, or simply being opinionated and they get judged for it and people act like pieces of shit towards them and I'm just so over it. As much as I'm grateful for the subreddits I feel I can safely express myself in and relate to, this app is so toxic as well. Sorry not sorry the attitude, ain't it? You'll need to do better seriously. It's not cute, it's weird behavior. Cracker 2011 says, ugh yes, and Insta to the comments have become so awful since a year or two. 90s Bat says, no man here can do any wrong. If a woman so much as whispers about being abused, she gets ganged up on by men insisting she's either lying or it's all her fault. Oh, and it's not just Reddit. Generally, men cannot empathize with women on any level and feel extremely oppressed and victimized. So therefore, women can never be victims. Fluffy with Fivalibba says, if you say men are, insert negative thing, you get 100 comments about how horrible you are, how a part of the problem you are, not all men, etc etc. But men often comment generalizations, thinly veiled insults about how women and nobody bats an eye. Men on here will go to bat relentlessly for men, defend their actions, but won't do the same for women. There are subreddits dedicated to being upset at women, but hardly any vice versa, but they will continue to argue that men suffer too. But it's not just a Reddit thing. Men are deeply insecure these days, and in general men lash out when they are insecure, so they do so online. Off my chest. No Fat 2000 says, how the frick do people do it? I'm talking about life in general. How do you work 40 hours a week? I can't hold a job. I'm autistic. I literally cannot do it. Because of that I have no life. I'm looking on job sites and they're either incapable for me or higher level of education requirements. So, am I simply, frick, Ed, do I just waste away until I die? Because I've tried, trust me, but I simply can't anymore. Frick. Dutch Bob 11 says, old Spurg here used to be a frick up, even in high school, and was destined to be incarcerated, institutionalized or dead, long before my 25th birthday then, in 1977, started dropping LSD, and it all cleared up. I'm 64 now, had a nice career, am now self-employed and semi-retired. Was happily married, am happily divorced, lovely family, great new GF. Have good long-time friendships and more than enough disposable income. My advice is, don't despair and start dropping. Wish you all the best and good vibes from Amsterdam. Moja Jojo says, go see the doctor bro, you might have depression. I'm in the psychiatric ward right now and just discovered I have borderline personality disorder. My life was a complete mess and I didn't understand why. I'm 27 and dropped out of school, started a business, and closed it down just cause. Quit every single job I've had, and moved at least 5 times in the last 3 years. I was planning on taking my own life. Now I realize that I can live with this disability simply because I know I have it. Trust me, go see a doctor before your emotions and mind spirals out of control. Good luck. Waiting for nothing says, I just work and hate my life at the same time. I'm also autistic, so I try to do work from home salary positions, so I start within the same 30 minutes every day and log off 3:30/4 every day. I can't do the traditional in office, it doesn't work for me. I also can punch a clock for hourly, because I'm terrible at being punctual. R/off my chest. Kenja Matsumun says, found my dad cheated on my mom. Recently my dad just changed from an Android to the new iPhone and my brother was tasked to move all of the images and all the data that can be moved. During that moving of images there are almost hundreds of albums in folders, but we didn't really care about it. My brother, having issues with the file movement, asked me for help, since I did the move recently as well. From moving those folders and images, we opened each folder just to make sure that the number of images are correct roughly. Suddenly, my brother found out first that there are multiple images of naked woman pictures, with one of the picture being my dad half naked hugging with another woman on the bed that isn't my mom. The picture dated as recent as September 2023 with other pictures before those dates. My brother didn't know what to do and called me straight away debating what we should do. For now I mentioned to not do anything about it, but I'm not sure if that's the best course of action. I've tried to not think about it after, but it kept being on my mind and my heart kept on pounding. I'm 26 years old this year and my parents has been married for 28 years. I just can't believe that my dad would do that. He doesn't strike me as a person who isn't loyal. I feel let down by my role model and not sure what to feel and if my decision is correct. I needed the validation, but more importantly I don't know who to talk to. I need someone to talk to me. That's it. Thank you for reading. Edit 1. Never thought people would reply to this post and I really can't thank this community enough. I feel much clearer what I needed to do. I'm still afraid, but I don't feel alone anymore. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Monsutala says, your decision is valid. You don't want to hurt your mom and see their relationship go downhill after decades of building trust. It's considerate of you to consider her feelings beforehand, and the fact that you're feeling let down is completely understandable as well. I was in your shoes last year too. I thought my mom deserved to know the truth and ended up telling her after I collected enough evidence. She decided to stay and forget about his actions. It was a messy situation, but I do not regret telling her. I could not have lived with the guilt, keeping it to myself, and letting his ego persist. He cheated for the thrill of it, because he thought he could get away with another woman who he perceived more favorably. I think that's what angered me most. After consulting with some other moms though, they all said that they would want their child to tell them. Then, I gained the confidence to speak up. Whatever choice you ultimately go with, just remember that it's okay. There is no wrong or right, and you are most definitely not responsible for fixing their relationship. I'm so sorry you had to find out this way, and I hope everything gets better soon. Natanat04 says, my question is, how would you and your brother feel if your guy's GF/wife cheated on you and people knew and didn't say any? They allowed you to continuously be lied to and manipulated. You aren't the one hurting your mom. Your dad is the one betraying her, lying to her, manipulating her to cover his infidelity. Thus any / so-called trust and stability their marriage has is an illusion. She is wasting her entire life to someone who doesn't value or respect her. She deserves better. Most importantly, she deserves the choice for herself, how she wants to spend whatever time she has left in this world. With a cheater she'll never be able to trust, or a life without someone who emotionally and psychologically abuses her. Cheating is abuse. Your mom needs a standard check now. God forbid your father gives her something incurable. Edited. Signal Historian 456 says, Ed, test the waters around your mom. Bring up open relationship or poly relationships and what she thinks about them. If you see she clearly reacts that she would never be part of that, you know what you have to do. Thing is, that now that you know, you're in this just as much as your dad. Not saying anything means you'll enable and support him. And when your mom finds out, it will be the worst betrayal possible. Not just her husband was in on it, but her kids also. Don't do that to her. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.